Again, my name is Mark Belage. I'm president of the Canadian Music Expo. I just give people a couple of seconds just to find their spot in the room and get a nice seat at our virtual in our virtual room here. So I'm really excited to introduce Eric Alper, owner of Eric Alper Public Relations. Eric is a Canadian music correspondent, blogger, and radio host in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Eric runs a music public relations company, That Eric Alper, and is the host of his own show on Sirius XM called That Eric Alper. It's a 1-hour talk show about music. Before starting his own PR company, Eric was the director of media relations for E1 Music Canada for 18 years, working with Bob Geldof, Natalie McMaster, Matt Dusk, Randy Bachman, Ringo Starr, Slash, The Wiggles, Snoop Dogg, The Smashing Pumpkins, Ray Charles, Sinead O'Connor, and Sesame Street. I mean, what a collection of musicians and contacts that is. Eric has been named to Billboard Magazine, Pace Magazine, and the National Post, the best on social media, have become one of Canada's best known and in-demand influencers with over 1 million followers on Twitter. And his blog, thatericalper.com, receives over 125,000 hits a week. Thanks very much for being here, Eric. Fantastic to see you again. And I'll turn it to you.
Oh, thanks so much, Mark. You mentioned there was a nice shout out to Unison earlier, and I just want to echo those sentiments, especially when it comes to artists now that need help, whether it's financial, psychological, drug and alcohol problems or situations that's happening in your life. Unison is one of the great causes that we all need. So this is going to be interesting. I'm going to talk as fast as I possibly can, but making sure that I don't leave anything out. This is 60 things that you can post on social media. If you follow me on social media, you know that every now and again I'll do a video about one of these things, going a little bit more in depth of why you should be posting it and some of the things that you could be posting. It really, all of these things are designed to take the pressure off of you as an artist promoting your latest single or your latest video. It's not so much of, continuing to promote. It's really utilizing who you are as a person and who you are as an artist. Anybody can like a social media post, but if they don't know who you are as a person, they're not really going to follow you. They're not going to follow you from song to song or video to video. And if you ever want proof of this, all you have to do is just take a look at Taylor Swift's social media and understand that she reveals who she is as a person. And that means then that people will believe in her, they'll trust in her. So right off the bat, the first thing that you should be posting that's really not about you on social media is holiday bundles. Now more than ever before, this is the perfect time to take all of your merchandise that you have and start to make bundles. It doesn't matter if it's CDs or cassettes or vinyl or merchandise. The ability that you can now offer a special deal and get rid of some of the old stock as well. And also start thinking about some new things, whether it's writing out the lyrics to one of your most popular songs and signing it, any memorabilia that you have left over from past tours, any clothing that you have from video shoots. Now's the time to bundle it all up together and promote that on social media. If you've been playlisted, congratulations. Now you can do this. Make sure that you share the playlist. And it's not so much of posting a story on Instagram, even though that I know why people do that. But the reason why you should also put it into a regular post is because when people like me as a publicist promote you to the media, they're going to miss all of the amazing playlisting that you've done. So make sure that you actually do a post so that they can go back and your new fans can see how popular that you've been, and that they'll be more apt to follow you, because people want to follow people that are doing well. It's just only human nature. So if you've been playlisted, make sure that not only do you say thank you to the playlist and do a story, but don't forget about doing a post, whether it's on Twitter, on Facebook, or Instagram, or TikTok, or all of them, to be frank with you. The ability to recreate classic albums. I love this one. We've seen a lot of artists before COVID go out on tour We saw Bruce Springsteen do his entire Born to Run and the River album, among other artists out there. So go just for giggles and create a classic album from start to finish. If you're ever stuck on maybe that you've only got one song or two songs or three songs, and it might not be long enough for a live stream, even though that is completely fine to do only one song for a live stream, try to just recreate a classic album. And you don't have to use the full-on band or the production. Even if you do it on an acoustic guitar, it's something special for your fan base, and it's a really great media angle as well for you to promote. If you are a drinker, or even if you love alcohol or even non-alcohol, one of the things that you can post on social media that has nothing to do with you is create a drink. And I know how goofy this sounds, but it's fun and interesting to be able to see other artists actually create a drink from scratch. And then, of course, post a picture of what the drink looks like, and then also the recipe on the things that you used as well. Exercising. We're in COVID. You've heard a lot of times to make sure that you take care of your mental health and your body more than ever before. So if you exercise and if you have a regimen that you do every day or every second day or every weekend, let people know what it is. If you're body conscious, it doesn't matter. All people are looking for is an idea on what you, the artist, is doing to get through all of this. You know, you are in a in an amazing position of influence and power to be able to do good on social media, to be able to talk to people and let people know who you are. You want to pull back the curtain a little bit and just let people know what you're up to. So if you exercise, I have a treadmill in the background. One of the videos I did was actually me walking on the treadmill. And look, I can't do a marathon anymore. I never did. But the ability for me to just get on that treadmill for an hour. So that's what I do. So if you do something, if you do yoga, if you walk, even if you have walking the dogs, the ability for you to take a photo of that and share what you're doing is something that takes it away from the constant promotion of buy my single, buy my album, watch my video. Postcards. I love this. I got a postcard as a thank you note to one of the artists that I work with halfway around the world, just to say thank you. And it was a music store in Berlin, and I love that, and I still have that. So the ability for you to post, to go to the store, get a bunch of postcards, and write a letter, a short note to somebody that was an influence in your life, somebody that you love, somebody that you used to write letters to, but now you don't, and post a photo of you with that postcard as well. You don't have to mention the name, you don't have to mention what was on the postcard, but it just gives people an idea of what to do during COVID when you're bored, and also ask people to send you postcards from where they are as well. I think it'll be really cool just to be able to get your fans postcards of if somebody is in Nashville or Memphis, to get one from Graceland or from the CN Tower, even if they're in your own city. So there's somebody that you haven't spoken to in a long time, write them a postcard and post that on social media. Listen to an album for the first time. I love when people do this, and it works. There's two twins in the US that started making videos on YouTube that have gone viral because they're listening to really popular songs for the first time. They went viral listening to Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight for the very first time, and they filmed themselves doing it. Now, you don't necessarily have to film yourself all the time listening to a song that is popular for the very first time, but this is your opportunity to listen to a brand new style of music, listen to a different genre, listen to an album that you might have seen something about, especially this year where there's been so much music. The ability for you to listen to an album, sit down on a Saturday and do nothing but listen and write your comments. The ability for you to either film yourself listening to a really great song or writing out during the post or in the space, whatever social media is on. So listen to an album for the first time and share what you're thinking about. one of the goofy questions that I ask on Twitter gets a lot of response, and it's the ability for you to create your own super group. So what you'll do is you'll think of who you like to have in your own group, and you either in the group or out of the group. So for guitars, people have put, I want Jimi Hendrix on guitar, I want John Bonham on drums, I want Steve Winwood on keyboards, and I want Freddie Mercury on lead vocals. So think about who you would love to put together a super group, and then also don't forget to ask your fan base what they would create for their super group as well. Not only is it a great way to get comments, but it's a really good conversational starter as well, at least for the people that I hang out with. I know my wife would be like, nobody cares about this, but in music, these are some of the things that we actually talk about. um, Online music conferences. Mark is putting together one of the greatest music conferences that I've known in my entire life with what he's been able to do with the Canadian Virtual Music Expo. Every music conference around the world is going to go virtual, not only for the rest of this year, but pretty much all of 2021. There's going to be no way that whatever government or country that is having the conference is that they're going to allow 500 people or 1,000 people traveling all together. So this is your opportunity to go to Google and search other online music conferences. This is your ability to post to your fan base about the fact that you are doing this conference. Your fans love to know that you are getting better at what you're doing. This is your chance to be your own expert and let other artists and other bands know about what you're doing as well. You're sharing information. You're basically being a conduit to all the things that are happening around you. And that's a reason for people to follow you, because it's not only just about the music, it's about who you are as a person and using social media for good. So go attend other online music conferences, share the ones that you're at, take a screenshot of it, post it on social media, and don't forget to say thank you to all of the participants and the speakers. I'm not saying this just because it's me, but the ability for, in case if that speaker doesn't show up in the chat afterwards, find out their email address. It's fairly easy now to find these people or send them a message through social media and just say thank you for speaking. This really resonated with me. I loved it when you said this. And it starts the conversation off. You would be so surprised at how little artists and people in the industry actually engage with one another once this is all over. And it's a shame, because this is what we're all going to be doing for at least the next year. Um, we've all overcome so many factors in our lives, especially you as an artist, as a musician, when the stacks are always against you. The odds are so against you from actually succeeding. But here you are. So talk about something that happened in your life that has to do with music and how you overcame it. Was it not being able to get a gig? And how did you do to that? What did you do to solve that? Was it trying to figure out the ending of a song? Was it your drummer left 4 hours before a gig and this is how you solved the problem? So think about something that happened in your life that was negative, but then how you actually turned it into a positive. Not only, again, to show that you're an expert and a knowledgeable human being, but you're also giving out free advice on social media. And what better way to generate that kind of shares and that kind of love from total strangers who follow you on the internet, to be able to say, this is how I overcame it. Because now more than ever before, I think we all can use some really sage advice. Milestones are amazing. They're a great tool to use in the back of your head. My Outlook calendar every single day has about 3 or 4 milestones. It has anniversaries of album releases, anniversaries of song releases, birthdays, deaths. It has specific things that happen in very popular musicians' lives. And it's a really great way to get engagement, and also something fun to post about an album that you love. Wikipedia lists everybody's date, everybody's release date. So the ability that you can go and look up, hey, when did Taylor Swift's first album come out, and then post about that. Also, you can use this for your own. When did the band start? When did you first play your gig? What was the date of the very first single that you ever released? What was the date of the very first album that you ever released? And you don't necessarily have to do year by year by year. You can go half year and 6 months. Find those amazing releases and those milestones that happened in your life and share those as well. I bet you if you sat down with a calendar, you can probably come up with 10 or 15 things that happened in your life that you can celebrate an anniversary, at least online. And there you go. Now you just got to figure out the rest of those dates. Cover art. I know that in the day and age that we're living in now, a lot of people might not spend that much time as much as they used to on their cover art when everybody was making CDs and vinyl and even cassette. Now we're all trying to struggle to put an artistic statement in a 1-by-1 little calendar or a little graphic design. But explain that. Talk about who took the photo, who did the graphic design, why you chose that, what the cover art means to you. If you're using an 80s old school font, explain why you're doing that. Even if it's like, I chose this font because it's fun and the music is related to that. You're not talking about the song. You're actually talking about the cover art that you are spending your time and probably a little bit of bucks on it. So put the spotlight on those people that helped you, and they'll be sharing it as well because it's their way of saying thank you for thanking me. What was your last concert? This one makes me a little bit sad because it's actually been a little bit ago. But talk about the last time that you actually went to a concert before COVID hit. Who was it? Where was it? When was it? Was it amazing? What was so great about it? Tell me about the lineup. Tell me about who you saw there. If you ran into an old friend there, just talk about the actual concert. Not only does it bring up a little bit of sad nostalgia, but it puts it away again from the spotlight of buy my music, listen to my music, watch my video. Talk about the last time that you actually saw a live show. Um, Award shows. This one, this one, you can get into a lot of trouble with, so don't. Watch an award show, whether it's the Grammys, whether it's the Junos, whether it's the Emmys, the Tonys, the Independent Music Awards online, but don't be snarky. I don't want to see any meanness on there. I don't care if you don't like a certain artist that wins. There's plenty of winners when it comes to award shows. So you can live post, live tweet, live Instagram, or just basically promote somebody that you love winning an award. The reason why nobody cares on whether or not if you love BTS or if you hate a certain artist is because you never want to divide your audience. You never know if your audience happens to love that person and then all of a sudden will feel offended. Also, you never know who manages that artist, who books that artist, what label that artist is on. And if there's a really great way to be ignored from that company when you're trying to get a record deal or a booking agent or a manager, it's insult their artist. I usually tell this a little funny, long, drawn out story about somebody who insulted one of the film lines that I was working with, and I was looking for an assistant, and this person applied to be my assistant. But as I went on their social media stream to see what kind of a person they are, they did nothing but insult the actual biggest property that I was working at the time. So needless to say, they didn't get the job. But go watch an award show and live post it and live tweet it. The other thing that you can post about that's not really about you is who you should be and who we should all be paying attention to. You all have friends in music. You all know other artists. You know other poets, other writers, other people that are doing fascinating, amazing work. Put the spotlight on them. Tell us who the next big thing is. Make a prediction. 3 years ago, I said it was Dua Lipa. Who knew? I wish I could have bought stock in it. But the ability for you to just have some fun and put the spotlight on somebody else is something that, again, takes it away from promoting your own music. But that person will likely share and post about it as well, giving you a whole new audience by just putting the spotlight on them. So if there's somebody in your life, whether it's a friend or a colleague that is doing amazing work in music, put the spotlight on them for once. Your resources, websites. I got a subscription to Billboard magazine when I was 12 years old, and it was one of the greatest gifts I've ever received because I love reading about the industry. These people were they were like my sci-fi characters, reading about managers and record labels and who was the producer of this song. I know a lot of you go to websites, especially music related ones, on a daily basis. Share which sites that you're going to, whether it's TMZ, whether you love the gossip, whether you love the insider industry, inside baseball kind of, knowledge of the industry. Share the site that you're going to. Not only is it acting as a great resource for other people who are trying to break in the industry, but it puts, again, not the spotlight on your song, but showing that you're a knowledgeable person in the industry, and that if people follow you, well, maybe there's something that they can learn as well. So if you visit certain websites on a regular basis or on a daily basis like I do, share the ones that you are going to. Boosted posts and data. So with this one, not everybody knows the difference between a boosted post, say on Facebook, and an ad. So what you'll do is you'll take one of the best posts that you did either that day or that week and just boost it on Instagram or on Facebook. So when you want to boost a post, you're actually trying to get people to stay on that platform. The ad is great on Facebook when you want to send people to your website, to an online retailer, a third party site. You're going to get knocked in the algorithm if you choose to do an ad unless you pay for it. We all know now that Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, they all want you to buy ads. Even if you have 1,000 fans on social media, there's probably maybe 30 or 40 or 50 people that's actually seeing the post. So when you're stuck on what to post on social media, take a really cool post that you did and spend $1, spend $2, spend $5. You don't have to spend $1,000 or $500. Spend a couple of bucks just boosting it to like-minded fans. If you play jazz, go after Mika Barnes fans, or Carol Welsman or Diana Krall in Toronto or in whatever city that you're in. If you play new rock, go after people who love the Foo Fighters in Canada between the ages of 30 and 50, or that kind of age demographic that might be looking for a brand new band. So whenever you're stuck for something to post on social media, go back and find something to boost the post. And again, just spend $1 or $2. You don't really have to spend that much more. Something that I'm guilty of not doing as much as I'd like to, but it's only because I work, is answer your comments. Spend 10, 15 minutes when you're going for a walk, when you're exercising on the treadmill, when you're having a cigarette, when you're sitting there watching a movie. Just sit there and answer as many of your comments, even from past posts, as possible. The ability for retweets and shares and comments to be the new autograph. You will blow your fans' minds when you comment back to them. It'll mean something truly special to know that the spotlight is put on them. Create a workshop. This is really fun for you to do. Create it. Teach people how to play guitar, teach people how to play your instrument, teach people how to write a song, teach people how to do cover art. Money saving tips. If there's something that you can share that saves you money being a musician, whether it's buying secondhand, whether it's buying online, how to not necessarily break your guitar strings. If there's things that have helped save you money over your course of your career, share those tips as well. Instagram Live. It's amazing how many people are doing this, but I don't see enough people doing it as much as I thought that they would go. You just need to do one song. You don't have to do a whole concert of a half hour or an hour. Be consistent. Do it every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. If you have a fan base that's on West Coast, make sure that you play at like midnight Eastern time if you're in Toronto, because that's 9:00 there. So just go on Instagram Live. You only need to do one song, and it doesn't even need to be your own. You can do a cover version of something. Track one, side one of your favorite album of all time. What is it, and why do you love it? This is your opening statement for the classic album. You can also talk about what track one, side one, the first song of your album is and why you chose that. Give off the impression that the actual song sequence still means something to you. I know today that a lot of people go single by single by single, then they put it all into an EP, but that's also the ability to talk about stuff like that. If there is a question that everybody keeps asking you as a musician, now is your time to answer it. You're still going to get asked that question, but if there's a question that you're always being asked, chances are your fan base want to know that as well. So answer that one question. Caption this. Take a photo and ask your fan base to caption it. It could be goofy. It could just be the most bizarre photo you've ever seen. Ask them to just come up with a caption on it. Before and after. We saw this go viral on Twitter. Do take a picture of you, or post a photo of what happened before and after. Before you picked up the guitar and after you picked up the guitar. Before you started taking music lessons and after you started taking music lessons. Opposite. Before and after. Handwritten lyrics. I know some of you always still write out your handwritten lyrics. Go post it. Post it take a picture of the lyrics, post it on your social media. People love to see the handwriting. It becomes more personal. It actually allows something fun. Again, you're not putting the emphasis on stream my song, buy my song, watch my video. Here's a photo of the lyrics of my brand new single. If you're interested, take an online class and talk about it. So there's a lot of free classes out there. Tell people what they're doing. Post an old photo of yourself, either as a kid or starting or your first gig. Is there anybody cool in your family? Take a photo of them and explain who they are and why you love them, why they're an influence on your life. Try to break a Guinness Book of World Record, but please don't kill yourself. Don't do anything dangerous. But do the longest song in history. It doesn't matter if you actually get the Guinness Book of World Record. The fun is actually attempting it and getting your audience to cheer on you as well. Read a kid's book online. Go to the library or go find an old book that you love and read it. Literally read it. You'll be amazed at how many people will watch things like this, even if they don't have kids, because it's fun for an adult to read a kid's book. What was the number one song on the day that you were born? For me, it was Rubber Ducky by Ernie on Sesame Street. So the ability for you to find what was the number one song on Billboard's Hot 100 on the day that you were born and post about that. Down the rabbit hole on YouTube. Post what video you're watching on YouTube and just let it run. And what's the 5th video or the 3rd video or the 10th video on YouTube, and you can post about that. What was your favorite music documentary that you've ever seen? Post about that as well. Who is your best friend? What's it like having a friend? Post about who your best friend is and why you love them so much. What and where is your happy place? Where do you go to that makes you feel so good inside? Are you a messy person? Awesome. Me too. Post a photo of your messy office. People love to know that things aren't as organized as it seems. If you have a tattoo, post a photo about your tattoo as well. Talk about where and when and why you got it. Who was your inspiration? Who's the one person in your life that you are so thankful that you learned something from? Write a book review. This is your ability to talk about one of your all-time favorite books and write about it as well. Share facts and useless trivia. Doesn't matter if it's music related or not. Cows have 2 stomachs. There's going to be somebody that will love something like that. Do a record review of your favorite album of all time. Make sure that you list the artist. Make sure that you tag them as well. You'll never know when they're going to say thank you, and tag it as well. Record Store Day. There's 4 Record Store Days coming up in 2021. Go on Record Store Day's website and go check it out and post about it, even if you don't have a release on there. Again, it's about putting the spotlight on other people, not just as you. Bandcamp. Every Friday, every first Friday of every month starting in 2021, they're going to be continuing their no profit for them sales. So if you're not on Bandcamp, now's the time to get on Bandcamp. If you are on Bandcamp, make sure that you promote the fact that all the money goes to you as well on the first Friday of every month. If you have a website, and if you don't, you should. If you have a website, start making a blog. Even if it's a couple of lines every week, people go to the website more than you would think. And owning your website is the only thing that you own. You don't own anything you post on social media. You don't own MySpace, Facebook, YouTube. You don't own any of that if they choose to go under. So your website is the only place where you'll actually get to have a say in what you're going to do. Post your media, post your successes, not just as a story, or not just as a fleeting moment, but as a story as well. Do a Q&A just like this. Book an hour of your time and just sit back and wait for your fans to come in with questions to answer. Do a takeover. This is your ability to go do a takeover of a social media site of your friend, and then you do the same. This is your ability to reach a whole new audience in that. So if you've got a friend that's in music, go do their takeover and post for their site, and then they'll do the same. Teach people how to play your song on a guitar, keyboard, drum, doesn't matter. Just get them to learn how to play your song. Doesn't have to be a half hour. It could just be 45 minutes. It could just be 15 minutes of the opening chord of it. If you're bored, get a microphone like this and just start your own podcast. It's really super easy. Everybody in the world now has a podcast, so why not you? On This Day in Music posts work really, really well for me. There's a site, On This Day in Music, and you just find something really cool. On this day in music, this person released this album and so forth. Create a playlist on Spotify or wherever you listen to music. Make sure that your song is on that playlist. Put a playlist of music to exercise to, songs to listen to when you're sad, angry songs, songs for a political rally. Just make sure that you put your songs on there. Not necessarily at the top, because that would be egotistical, but put it like song number 3 and number 7. And you'll be very surprised at how many people start to share that playlist away from you. Highlight organizations that are doing good work, like Unison, like SoCan, like Resound. Find those fun, amazing organizations in your own country and put the spotlight on them. Talk about what they do, and don't be surprised if they don't share that as well. 2 more. Offer yourself up. If you have a special talent away from music, offer that up to people. You might be pretty cool in doing something else, whether it's construction work or woodworking or you knit. Offer that for nonprofit groups and associations, and don't be surprised again if people start contacting you about something else. Again, it's something for you to post. And last but not least, the single best day of your life. I want you to post, not necessarily it's what happened to you in music, but the best day ever. And I want you to put a photo and explain why that was the best day ever. Who knows? Maybe it's this one. I know, this is pretty close. So post about your single best day ever and why it was your best day ever. And always, always, whenever you're posting these things, ask your readers and your followers to do the same as well. So I think I'm supposed to say something like, in conclusion, you always have to remember that you are in a very special and privileged position. Your worst day as a musician is better than most people's best day ever. So put the curtain behind a little bit, share what's going on in your life, share what's happening as you as a person, because again, people can like your song, people can share your video over and over and over again. But the way to garner that long-term fan base is to make people love who you are as a person. Think about that. Think about who you love as a musician, and you probably know more about them than they do themselves. And it doesn't matter if you're first starting out with one song or you've got an EP, you are special and you are loved, and your fan base want to know more. So I never want to hear ever again that I don't know what to post on social media. And don't take for granted what we all do for a living here. And thank you for your time. If you have any questions, if you want me to go a little bit more in depth with something, let me know. Just find me on social media at that Eric Alper, or visit the website and send me an email anytime at ericalper.com. Hi, Mark.
That was amazing. You must be out of breath. I tried to keep up with all of them. I mean,
I'm going back to
such
sleep.
great ideas. And like as a music fan, I think back and I go, yeah, you know what? Some musicians do that kind of stuff. Especially like the one where you said take a picture of your handwritten lyric.
I love
that. That's fantastic.
I love that. I used to post, and I still do. Whenever there's auctions in music, I get, it's news everywhere. We all saw that, like, Bob Dylan's handwritten lyrics for, like a Rolling Stone went for $650,000. It's like, you all may not be Bob Dylan's, but it's fun to see his handwriting. It's fun to see him scribbling out words and ending up with like what he did. And I find that fascinating. Look, I'm not a handwriting expert fan, but I think that I want to know whether or not if somebody puts heart over their eyes,
I'm sure you've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame many, many times. But, they have a lot of displays of the original lyrics, right? That's how cool is that? So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a couple of questions here for you, Eric. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Mark Relation. I'm president of the Canadian Music Expo. So we had somebody post, David wrote an interesting idea about creating your own drink and sharing the recipe, and he thinks he's going to try that. And then Michelle wrote, she had a show a while ago called Naked on the Rocks, and for the performance, she created a martini with Godiva white chocolate liqueur, creme de menthe, and vodka. So it's pretty delicious. So
I love that. It's funny, around the holiday time, I got a couple of emails from people that said that they wanted to send me like a bottle of wine. And it's like, great. And they're like, well, what do you drink? And it's like, I don't drink alcohol, but I drink like 19 cups of tea all day long. If I'm ever stuck, I'll post that, like, I drink like 19 cups of tea, because it reveals something about me. I'm not going to go into why I don't drink alcohol. It's probably because I just spent too many drunk nights in my 20s. I was just done with it. But like, that reveals something. It doesn't necessarily mean, it's nothing fascinating. It's nothing interesting, but the ability for somebody to know, hey, Eric Alper doesn't drink alcohol. That's a post, and, not talking down to anybody that does, or anything like that. But that's something that I would just take for granted, that I think that nobody would be interested in. But if you're a musician and you're like, hey, I like to make my own drinks, or, I drink a smoothie every single day, that's fascinating to me.
Yeah, that's great. Carol wrote a question for you. Where did you find the online classes?
There's a number of them, actually. If you, weirdly enough, Harvard, Yale, and Princeton offers free online classes that obviously you can't use towards your degree, but the Berklee School of Music has free online classes. There's a number, if you go to Google and you type in music free online class or knitting free online class, there are dozens of sites that will come up, and it's usually a hub. They're free because they're not really going to reveal all the secrets, but certainly there's enough, universities, accredited universities and colleges, but also just some places that are just like the Toronto School of the Arts actually post their classes all online. So it's fair. There's a lot of them out there. Just Google the right words and you'll just come up with dozens and dozens of schools that do that.
Excellent. So many great tips. Thanks very much, Eric. There's a lot of other comments saying just thanks for the great session here. Also, just some people asked about recording of the session. So it will be available at some point. We're heading into the holidays, but it will be available on our Canadian Music Expo YouTube channel as well. Eric has agreed to list it or show it on there, so you'll be able to check that out. Hopefully in the next week or two, we'll get it posted up there.
Or call me late at night when you have an hour. Right. And I'll just sit there and ramble them all off again.
That's right. So Eric Alper, owner Eric Alper Public Relations. And Eric, you can obviously help musicians as well. They can reach out to you if they need some help.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, if they're looking to kick around ideas about their publicity campaign or media campaign, I'm always working with independent artists. I see a lot of them that are actually here, which is great to see. But yeah, whether you're big or small, old or young, no matter what style of music, always happy to kick around ideas and talk about campaigns, even if it's for one song and one video a month or long term. I'm always here.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Eric, as always. For the for everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for doing this, man. I so appreciate you, and I appreciate what you do, and you know that I love you and everybody there, and crossing fingers and hope that we get back to actually seeing each other in person. But I appreciate all the hard work and effort that you put into this, not only with the Canadian Music Expo, but Toronto Jobs as well. So thank you for asking me and for inviting me, and thanks to everybody watching and listening and reading and inviting me into their homes on Saturday morning.
No problem. Thank you for your support, Gary. Thanks so much.
All right, see you.
See you. Thanks so much. So I'm just going to wrap things up and just let everybody know that we do have a number of musicians coming up. Ursula is on right now. White Christmas songs feel like Christmas. We've got the panel coming on in less than 20 minutes as well. I've got a great panel lined up. Quite a variety. We've got Susie Cooley, who's a musician. She put on a live event this summer, the Love Revolution Tour. We're still talking about that. We've got Mo, who's a songwriter as well. We've got Demetrius Math, who's president of Music, member of the May. He also has done concerts. He's done live concerts. He's created the virtual. He also runs the Music Awards. You know, that Corey Tool is music development coordinator at the Student Saga. And Sarah Hagerman, industry production manager at Unison. So that'll be in one of the sessions. So we go to the sessions in about 20 minutes or so. We'll be live there. So we are getting ask questions. We're all live here today. We are. It's 11:15 Saturday morning, December 19th. We're enjoying the event. Grab your favorite beverage. Stick with us for another 2 hours and 48 minutes. We've got so much music still coming up as well. So again, support Canadian music. Post some thoughts. Share who you are, what you are in the events chat, in the stage chat, or in the session chat. As I mentioned, I'll be moderating the panel coming up in over 15 minutes. You'll be able to access that to the sessions area on the left-hand side. And then that'll be available 5 minutes before, so about 10 minutes, 25 minutes after the hour. Networking area, you want to connect with other people at this event. You can have one-on-one conversations with them, whether it's a musician, music fan, whatever. You can also go into the people area in the top right-hand corner, and you can ask to have a private video chat with someone as well. I will be available after the panel. I'm happy to have a one-on-one chat with you if there's anything I can help you with, if you want to talk music, whatever. And then make sure to check out the expo. There's a lot of exhibitors and sponsors there that you don't want to miss. Again, I want to thank the team that is not Logic with the K, Logic.ca, for putting the event on. Also, all our sponsors and exhibitors and partners. There's so many to share. So, again, thank you for being on here. Thank you for watching. And hopefully we'll see you in about 15 minutes in the sessions area on the panel. And don't forget, Ursula is on right now, so you don't want to miss it. Thanks very much. Have a great day, and see you in 15 minutes, hopefully.